The nation of Liyue has a multitude of different gods, most of them being restricted and influenced by a contract from the Geo god himself, Morax. In this video I'm going to be talking about the gods that influence the history of Liyue and how the ones who remain operate during the current era of the story. In the nation of Liyue, the gods are referred to as Adepti, which are a group of magical beings and gods alike. I will be also mentioning some spoilers from the story, mostly from Act 1, so if you haven't caught up with the story yet, I'd recommend completing at least Act 1 before watching. Morax is the Geo Archon and is worshipped all across of Liyue. The god goes by many different names, those ranging from the god of contracts, Rex Lapis, Prime of Adepti, the warrior god, and the groundbreaker. Currently in the story he goes by the form of a human named Zhongli and wanders around the nation of Liyue. He also works at Wangshen Funeral Parlor as a consultant, which is led by Hu Tao. In the past he was known as a fierce warrior who had taken down many different gods, those ranging from Azdaha, who was a dragon who tried to rebel against the Order of Liyue. He ended up being sealed. He had also defeated the ancient sea god known as Ozile and had sealed it under the Gunyun Stone Forest. Although he did become softer after meeting Guizhang, who is known as the Lord of Dust. He was very close to her, and with her help and a few other gods, they had created and founded the Guili Assembly, which was the ancient and incredibly successful civilization in the land of Liyue. Although this civilization was eventually destroyed from the Archon War, which took place 2,000 years ago. This had then led to Morax hiring the Yaksas, a group of Adepti who were contracted to help aid Morax conquer and destroy the demons that were on Liyue. Back to present day, Zhongli is one of the few remaining gods who is still alive from the Archon War. Out of the 7, Zhongli and Barbados remain as the only ones still left, with the 5 others dying at some point. After Act 1 he is no longer doing contracts after completing his final one, which led to him trading his gnosis and his god status. Guizhang, who is known as the Lord of Dust, is one of the more pronounced and well-known gods in Liyue. She was known as a very gentle and kind goddess. She used both strategy and wisdom to complement Morax during the creation of the Guili Assembly. She had met Morax in a field of glaze lilies and used the memory of dust as a way to pledge their allegiance to Liyue. Guizhang also contributed to the creation of the Realm of Clouds. The most interesting part of Guizhang was that she had a large interest in the technology of the nation of Conria, those being the ruin machines, as she used them for research. This was her main purpose in the creation of the Realm of Clouds, and you can explore it as a one-time domain in-game. She had an incredibly sad death as she died among a field of glaze lilies in the Archon War. She asked Morax to forget about the gift they had shared. This had a huge impact on Morax and likely permanently changed his personality, likely for the better. The next god is Marchosas. He is known as the god of the stove and was one of the many co-founders of the Guili Assembly. After the Archon War, Liyue was in a terrible state, so Marchosas decided to revitalize and help transform Liyue to a better state, in which he had lost the majority of his powers since that point. He decreased in physical size and lost a great amount of intelligence. In present day he is now known as Guba. He currently is the companion and friend of Zhongli and had become close with her after she kept on offering him food, which led to him following her across all of Liyue. The Yaksas are different among the Adepti, as they are bounded by Morax's contract to exterminate and conquer demons. This tough and brutal contract had mentally destroyed the majority of them, some going against each other and becoming mad with carnage. Out of the Yaksas, 5 of them were renowned as the strongest: Boshasis, Indaris, Bonanis, Menogias, and Alatus. 3 of them are currently deceased in the story, with one of them completely vanishing and leaving no trace behind. This leaves Alatus, who is known as Zhao as the last and remaining Yaksha that is still bound and active in his duties. Although there is another Yaksha known as Pervases who makes an appearance during the story, but this is in spirit form as he had already passed away in battle hundreds of years ago. The strange part of Pervases is that he is a much more compassionate and calmer person in comparison to how the other Yakshas are portrayed. Pervases and Zhao are the only 2 Yakshas that have interacted with the traveler so far in the story, although I wouldn't be surprised if the one that vanished may end up appearing later in the story, although most likely not in Liyue. Madame Ping is another Adeptus who is known as a streetward rambler. She's one of the few Adepti who still reside in the city of Liyue Harbor. She was gifted a cleansing bell from Zhongli at some point, and often goes to live in her realm of her magical teapot. She also interacts with many of the playable characters in Genshin, such as her being the caretaker of Yanfei, and that Ping is also the martial artist teacher of both Zhongling and Yao Yao. In one of the spirit realms lies the teapot spirit and Adeptus Tubby, who helps aid the traveler in expanding and exploring the realm. The Cloud Retainer is an Adeptus in the form of a bird who helps seal the release of Ozile during the climax of Act 1. Along with Guizhang, the Retainer also had an interest on the remaining technology from Conria and helped with her research at some point. She also took in Shenhei under her wing for reasons still unknown. The Cloud Retainer also has an interest with Ganyu, who is a half Adeptus that is currently serving as the secretary of the Liyue Qixing. She's among the many Adeptus alive who take on the full form of an animal in the current story, a few others being Mountain Shaper and Moon Carver, who also helped seal Ozile in the climax of Act 1. The gods of Liyue are all influenced by the leader of the Adepti Morax, with many of them being bound by the contract of destroying demons. The Adepti have shaped the history of Liyue, and without them the nation wouldn't have prospered and became the economic powerhouse that it is in modern day Teyvat. I hope you guys all enjoyed this video, and I will catch y'all in a bit.